Okay, I was going to make a script for this video, but honestly, I couldn't really land on anything that felt right. So instead, I'm just gonna talk from the heart about Dark Souls 2. I started playing FromSoft games in 2023, a year after Elden Ring dropped, and they quickly became my favorite game developer of all time. I loved how their games were just allowed to exist as they were. No microtransactions, no forced tutorials, no minimap cluttering the screen. You just play however you want. There's no hand holding, and because of that, there's this strange sense of freedom that most modern games don't give you at all. The order I played them in was Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 1, Sekiro, Demon Souls, and then finally Dark Souls 2. I intentionally left Dark Souls 2 for the last because of its reputation. Everyone calls it the black sheep of the franchise, the worst one, but after playing it, I honestly don't think that reputation is fair. If anything, I think Demon Souls is probably the weakest. It was the prototype, the rough draft. It's cool for what it started, but it felt janky and incomplete in a way that others didn't. I was recently playing Demon Souls again, the meat cleaver build, and I got to the man-eaters, and then I just stopped playing the game just because I was getting annoyed. Their AI bugged out, and I couldn't kill one of the last man-eaters, and then I died doing the run back 5 times, and I just never picked up Demon Souls again. When I finished Dark Souls 1, I was still fat rolling in full Havel's armor, used to the slower, clunkier combat. Then I booted up Dark Souls 2 and started rolling around in the opening area, the grass and the things betwixt. Right away, the movement just felt smoother, like shockingly smoother. Like I could actually roll in 8 directions. I could mid-roll and not feel like I was getting out of quicksand. That was wild. And, I get it. Yeah, everyone makes fun of ADP, but honestly, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. You level up fast in Dark Souls 2. And souls are plentiful. By the time I reached New Game Plus, I was already around level 150, probably even more. And I hadn't even used boss souls to level at all. And I didn't even farm, I just played the game naturally. And that's the thing. Dark Souls 2 lets me play my way. It wasn't the most polished, it didn't always make sense, but it gave me the space to explore, to mess around, to breathe. And somehow that imperfection made it feel way more personal. What really stuck with me the longer I played was how Dark Souls 2 quietly leans into this theme of amnesia. It's not just something that characters talk about, it's built into every part of this game. You play as the bearer of the curse, someone who's losing their mind, their memories, their soul, and you feel that, not just in the story, but in how the world is structured. The map doesn't make sense the way it does in other Souls games. There's no clear geography. You go from a sunken windmill to a lava castle. You go from Hyde's Tower to a wharf, pirate wharf. At first, it feels like really bad design, but then it starts to feel intentional, like you're wandering through a dream or fragments of a world that no longer fits together. And the characters you meet are vague and kind of forgetful. Towns feel like memories you're only half remembering. Even Majula, the game's peaceful hub, it feels like purgatory in there. Like, you're surrounded by people who have given up and who have forgotten what they were doing or why they even came here. And as the player, you're not exempt from that. You also don't know what you're doing here. But you keep pushing forward into Drangleic, and no one really tells you why you're doing it. Where, like, no one gives you any meaningful, like, definition of what you're doing. You start to forget why you're fighting, but you just are. And weirdly, that hit me harder than I expected. It made me reflect on times in my own life when I felt like I was just going through the motions. Working, grinding, moving forward because that's what you're supposed to do, but not really sure where it's all leading. That's why Dark Souls 2 captures it so well. It's not about being a chosen one with a grand destiny. It's about persistence in the face of uncertainty. About identity slipping away. About choosing to keep going even when the reason gets harder to remember. Dark Souls 2 like the rest of the series, offer something powerful in return, and that's resilience. You fail, you die, you get back up. Like, these games taught me that progress doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes just showing up and trying again, pushing forward when things feel meaningless, that's enough. In a weird way, fighting through Drangleic helped me fight through parts of myself. When you keep going, the quiet act of persistence starts to feel like a beacon of hope that you can kind of cling to. So yeah, Dark Souls 2, it's the one everyone loves to hate, but after actually playing it, I think it's the most underappreciated entry in the entire Dark Souls trilogy. People talk about how it's janky, or how the world design doesn't make sense, or how it's too different from Miyazaki's vision, but I think that's exactly why it stands out. It dares to be weird. It dares to feel lost. And in doing so, it reflects something real about memory and identity and the quiet strength it takes to keep moving forward. You know, mechanically, this game is not as good as DS3 or as iconic as DS1, but it has the biggest heart. That's why, to me, it's not just not the worst Souls game. It's the best one. If you can look past all the discussion and just go with it with an open mind, there's something really special for you waiting with this game. That's kind of all I have to say about Dark Souls 2. If you enjoyed this video, I've got a lot more coming. I've been recording clips from all the other Souls games as I played through them. I've also been playing a lot of the Souls-likes, so I have a lot of footage from Liza P and Black Myth Wukong. They're both awesome. Yeah, each of these games has something unique to say, and I want to talk about how they explore themes like identity, purpose, and struggle, just like Dark Souls 2 does in its own weird and beautiful way. So if you're into that kind of deeper, more personal look at games, stick around.